Good afternoon, everybody. Silver Dragon here, coming at you with some more of the Dead Linger. Now, it has been a very long time since we have taken a look at the alpha of this game. Now, for those that, of course, haven't seen any of my videos on this or haven't found any information on this before, who've never played the game, if it's your first time actually hearing about this game, the Dead Linger is essentially one of the many zombie survival sandbox games out there. A couple bit of information for those that have never really been paying much attention to it lately, or for the long time that's been through its development. It's a game that was kickstarted, or the Kickstarter was started March 30th, 2012. It reached its funding goal 9 days later, on April the 8th for $60,000, which was their initial goal to make the game. They then went on to more than double that just for the Kickstarter and get slightly over $150,000 to fund the game. Now, originally the game was on the Ogre engine, which, to be honest, I don't know too much about the engine itself, but it pretty much did the job. It was a decent enough engine. Wasn't the most high tech perfect thing they could have worked with, honestly. But it kind of functioned for a while. So they started their initial alpha or pre-alpha shortly after their Kickstarter. It was decent. It was playable. You can actually check all of the videos from their pre-alpha, alpha, and everything that they've done for the past 3 years, pretty much, on my playlist of the Dead Linger, which I will be linking in the description down below. Now, for a while, they updated with the Ogre engine, they added new content, they added in big world generation. This was supposed to essentially be a massive world. I think it was like 32,000 by 32,000 square kilometers or square miles of world, essentially, almost like a world, Earth-sized world that we were going to explore with randomly generated cities and infrastructure and all that kind of stuff. But in the end, yeah, it didn't quite turn out that way. So, now, some of the major issues that plagued this game was essentially for the longest time going along with the Ogre engine, they needed to, it just wasn't working for them. It didn't give them what they needed to kind of get the game to where they wanted it to go. So, they decided to ditch the Ogre engine and upgrade it to Unity instead. Now, that went along, and unfortunately, I think it was about that time. Let me actually double check here. It was about a year later that they decided to upgrade to that, from Ogre to Unity, and after they had gotten the first build, they released it on Steam Early Access on the 27th of September, 2013. And it bombed horribly. Essentially, whatever they did, it was a really fun, playable game on the Ogre engine in the beginning. And then whatever they did when they upgraded to the Unity engine, they made the biggest mistake they probably made was not giving it to their initial Kickstarter testers. They just, upgraded it to the engine, threw it out on early access, and it just tanked because everything that they had in the game for the Ogre engine pretty much broke. Building generation, buildings were floating in the air, and trees were everywhere, and zombies were flying around, and it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. 90% of the content for the game was basically fucked up, essentially. And it released in that kind of state. And about 10 updates, I think it was later, version J or I or something along those lines, it had gotten finally back to a interesting and playable state, still going along with their original goals. Now, there's a lot of really interesting stuff they had on their roadmap. There was all sorts of vehicles, trains they wanted to put in, possible planes, lakes, maybe not the entire sea, but rivers, valleys, mountain ranges, and all this just amazing content. Not to mention various game modes for players to either work together with each other or even play as factions, different player factions against each other kind of thing on this big open world. So there was a lot going for this game, and for the longest time, even beyond the Unity update, I was still kind of massively supporting the game and giving it, just give it some time, they'll work this out, they'll kind of, get her going. And then, of course, once again, they decided to make another engine change. I believe that was, let me actually check here, it was January the 7th, 2015, that they made the big post about changing over to Unity, or not Unity, to Unreal. It was essentially they posted it as a matter of, I believe, money, but also possibly not being able to actually do what they wanted to do. Again, on Unity, just like Ogre wasn't doing it for them. Apparently, Unity wasn't as well. Yeah, that's kind of funny. But yeah, one of the major problems with it was that Unity was charging them about $75 a month or $1,000 for a commercial release, or commercial license, I should say, and they wanted to charge a crap ton to upgrade to Unity 5, whereas Unreal Engine 4 was a mere $20 a month and 5% of the game's revenue after a certain amount. Which obviously, from a financial aspect, that was a much better way to go. But was it better for the game? Now in the beginning, when all of this was going on with the original Ogre source and whatnot engine, and all the upgrading they had to do after that, they were approached by other devs for different games, similar themed games, but different. And they were basically told, yeah, this engine's not going to work for you, and it's going to end up wasting a lot of time and effort for your programmers to go through this, like just giving general advice kind of thing. And they kind of shrugged them off and said, well, you're working on so and so, and we're working on something slightly different. What the hell do you know? Was the general kind of attitude early on, from what I understand. That's, he said, she said, blah, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. So to be honest, God only knows. But yeah, and now we're on the third engine change, or the second engine change here, with Unreal Engine 4, which is what we currently are having here released for the alpha, and we're going to take a look at that and see how it stacks up. Now again, if you do want to see how this compares to the previous Ogre and Unity Engine builds, feel free to check the link down in the description, which will have my playlist for all the previous kind of updates. Now, let's go ahead and load on in here, Silver Dragon. Yes, I'm just going to load up a solo brand new world. Let me actually lower the audio settings on this thing here, as it's not going to let me even. I'm on like 3%, and it's still quite loud, to say the least, here. God damn. Let me see if I can lower that down to 1% even of its total. I don't know what's with my computer. Everything just is so fucking insanely loud. It's ridiculous. So, when they made the choice to switch from Unity to Unreal Engine 4, they had to change a lot of the fundamental promises that they had made for the game. One of the main ones was it was no longer going to be a large, randomized, 32,000 by 32,000 square kilometer mile world. It was all going to be crammed into a much smaller valley. Well, not just a valley, it's a smaller just map generated. Now, a lot of the stuff here may still be generated randomly. There could still be large cities, and the infrastructure will remain generally the same, so there will still exist some measure of randomization and chance into the game. But for the most part, for the map-wise at least, we're restricted to this for quite a while. So we got large mountain ranges to the east. The Alpha Valley is pretty small that we have access to right now, but we can go outside of it. There just won't be any loot spawning, and also crazy terrain generation shit can happen. Which, to be honest, happened throughout all stages of their alpha, to be honest. It was funny like that. Alright, let's go ahead and create a new world. World name, World 1 is fine. Seed. Let's go to Silver Dragon Seed. Create a new world and enter it. So, yeah, they've had to go back on a lot of their main promises for the game, and this is what we got right now. Like, when it comes to any game having to change engines or completely go in a different direction, to be honest, I'm kind of surprised that they haven't just folded their cards already. I mean, they've made so many just insane critical changes for the game. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't completely folded their cards as of yet. Come on, create an end of the world. We ain't got all day here. Leave us feedback and whatnot. So hopefully we'll get a chance to actually take a look at the game here, but it doesn't seem to quite want to let me. There we go. Entering the world, finally. I don't even know if that's the world I generated. Whoa. So it instantly spawns us in the new populated town they were making. As you can see, the zombie animations are a little slow. Same thing for the player animations. A little awkward. I'm gonna punch this zombie in the face here. At least they look... It's kind of funny. I almost miss the original zombies. The original ogre zombies for the very first... Oh, Jesus. For the very first release of this game, they kind of looked like little gray aliens. I enjoyed them a little bit, oddly enough. I'll use my middle mouse button here to grab the door and then close it. This doesn't look like the doors entirely fit the frames right now. So, a lot of the aspects of the game right now, this is definitely not... This version of the game is not feature parity with the previous Unity version of the game. So, animations, as you can see, are pretty horrible, to say the least. Some of the visuals have been tuned down. It'll be clipping with trees, odd spawning, and so on and so forth. But let's go ahead and head in this house here and see what we can find. Actually, this is the house that he went to visit in his alpha video as well. Or in his announcement video for this. What do we got here? Nothing too much of interest. And yeah, some of the loot is randomized. The same when the dev was showing off this version of the game, there were 2 cans of soup on the counter here. Whereas when I came in, it was a can of soup and an apple. So that has changed a little bit. So some of the loot randomization is still into the game. Let's head upstairs and see if we can find... We did find a weapon. They also have changed, if I open up the inventory, some of our stats as well. We now have these little health indicators that show our overall health, the amount of food we have, our hydration, calf speed, which would be interesting, our current temperature and defense. So their UI has definitely been upgraded over time by leaps and bounds. It's just the actual technical parts of the game, kind of like how this door kind of has a sticker for a door handle instead of an actual, you know, door handle like the previous ones had. Not that it makes much difference, because we just kind of grab the door, like grab the door by its unruly door shirt and then kind of shove it forward and backward. As it were. If doors had shirts. That'd be entertaining in its own right. Anywho, looking around the house here, we're not finding too much. We got the lead pipe at least. What the hell's an orange doing up here? Oh, another lead pipe. Seems like the lead pipes are quite popular in this town. I don't know. Maybe it's a... Then again, now, if it's baseball fans, they have more baseball bats, but still. I guess they're all plumbers in this town. I don't know. What do we have here? We have ourselves a gun. Let me check my inventory here. Beforehand, we were able to switch weapon sets. I do not know if it's actually going to let me this time around. Trying to rearrange my inventory here. Again, it's not quite allowing me to. I'm gonna have to eat that then. Apparently my crotch holds the gun for me. I have no words. Apparently I just have a mighty crotch. Let's reload that. Let's reload my crotch gun. You know what? Anytime they've ever released an alpha build of this game, at the very least I can say that I've always gotten a good laugh from the bugs. At the very least I can say that. Oh, this is hilarious. Come on. Open up. Anything good up here? Ooh. Got some additional rounds. Looks like 7.62 rounds. Come on. There we go. Let's go ahead and smack that thing open. So we got cans of... And the door locked behind me. And Silver was trapped in here forever. Never to leave the House of Horrors. And crotch guns. Okay. Unfortunately, we're not seeing a hell of a lot else. So let's get on out of here. But yeah, for the most part, I actually quite enjoyed some of the stuff they were doing for the game. Like, the last major update they did on the Unity engine, they added really, really nice lighting effects that could be really glitchy at times, still, because obviously it was still early. But for the most part, they were interesting just because they made the game look really nice. Let's try shooting a zombie. Line up the cursor, see if my crotch gun works. The crotch gun works! Hells yes, crotch gun for the win. Now this is how I kill zombies. Ah yeah, just flex them balls. Yeah! Take that, you undead bastards. Your kind will be eliminated from the world. Excellent. Oh yes, crotch gun is clearly OP. Clearly. And then of course, as always throughout their entire development, we've had the little spawning glitches like this. Like houses and roads floating, well, floating. They shouldn't be floating, obviously. So yeah. Oh, we got some nice, more of those large, tall houses. So that's actually a completely new house. Pretty much all the buildings I'm seeing here seem to be... Oh, your safety is on. X. I have a safety now! That's interesting. No guns had safeties before. I imagine to headshot these zombies quite well so far. Reload. Alright, let's keep going around here. So, we can pretty much grab as much food and water as we want and just kind of, well, go where the heck we want if we were so inclined. Let's go ahead and eat that. That was a little awkward looking for a second there. Let's go see what's in, wow, this is quite an open building, to say the least. Here's some of the odd lighting. That's chat. It's V is what I'm looking for our lovely flashlight here. So yeah, it's unfortunate that this is the first build we have gotten on Unity. Oh, what the hell's that? It's probably a notification that I'm hungry. Your flashlight is fully charged. Okay, so the flashlight actually has to charge now, I see. That's something they were thinking about for a while, whether or not the flashlight would require batteries, whether it'd have like one of those crank ones. What is it? Mechanical powered batteries or whatnot. I am feeling hungry. That is a shame. Let's eat an apple. Eat an apple and some soup. Unfortunately, I'm not really finding any water. So I'm not sure how well we're going to survive here. Now, one of the interesting aspects of the game is that you can fortify pretty much any building you want to live in. You can go chop down trees, which can turn into planks and boards. Oddly enough, they didn't turn into planks and boards to begin with. They kind of chopped down a tree. Excuse me. You chop down a tree and it would explode into planks and boards instead of trunks, as per usual in a game like this. So it's a little bit awkward like that, but that's the way it is. That's just the way it is. Too bad I can't drink from the tap here. Just a whole lot of soup. That is all we findin'. Man. It's too bad. You would think that soup would also deal with thirst, but it seems to only be dealing with hunger. Oh shit, hello. I'm sorry, was I interrupting you? My bad. Moving on. We already know the bathroom doesn't seem to have any loot at all, pretty much, so let's just kind of look in the other rooms. Ah, hello. We have ourselves a wrench, a pipe wrench. I think, oddly enough, I'm still actually... Yeah, I'm sort of still wielding my crotch gun, while also wielding this wrench. So it's a bit awkward, but whatever. I guess that works. Okay, let's open up the door here. Anything else of interest in this place? We got some additional ammunition for our gun. Fantastic. Unfortunately, we're not finding much else. Let's look around here. Now, there's a lot. For the longest time, of course, they had a whole bunch of props, kind of like all these beds, the nightstands, and so on. They had these props ready to go, but they just didn't have the game where they needed it to put them all in. And I'm getting hungry already. Oh, hello. Sorry. Excuse me while I bash your head in. Or not, because I'm apparently swinging this randomly in the air and it's not doing anything. Whatever. In that case, let's get rid of this. I want my crotch gun. There we go. They've also changed the crafting, which is in... Well, we don't actually have the ability to go to it right now. So yeah, a large portion of the game's features are not really available to us right now. I'm kind of hoping I would find an axe so I could try chopping down a tree. I'm not really sure if I can use a meat cleaver to do so, but I suppose I could try. Yeah, for some reason I can't wield this gun anymore. Well, then again, as I expected, the game does have 1,000,001 bugs after upgrading to the newest engine, so what can you do, really? Oh, fuck. Sorry, buddy. My bad. My bad. Alright, let's go back down 2 floors and see about looting that the other gun. So from here, I really don't know where this game is going to go, to be honest. Now I've got double crotch gun. Oh yeah. I mean, I guess it's just kind of still the same thing I've been doing for the last 3 years. Just wait and see where the game goes. To be honest, I think I paid like 15 bucks back in the day to kickstart the game and got access to pretty much every build since. So I've more than gotten my money out of the game in all this time. I can't really suggest that anyone buy this game in its current state. At the very least, wait until this build actually gets some bug fixes in here, and all of these kind of wonky mechanics get fixed. And of course, it would be nice if they, I would almost wait until they made it feature parity with the alpha, or the Unity version. Because at least then you have a whole lot more to the game itself. This is really awkward. Oh well, anyway. A lot of vehicles around here, none of them we can actually drive yet. The previous Unity build did have one vehicle that you could drive, which was a bike. No, I can't really enter in or do anything with these. Let's go ahead and shoot you. There was also a variety of different zombies, whereas right now it looks like they only have this one kind of generic zombie to look at. What is that in the distance? Looks like that's a cell tower or something. You know what, let's go ahead and head to the cell tower. I'm pretty much dead anyway. I can't find any water bottles or anything whatsoever. Looks like we do actually have a road way up in the distance. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Yep. We do have a kind of a wacky looking road. Like, who the hell builds a road like that? They should seriously fire the road engineers on this poor zombie-filled country. My god. Terrible. Terrible substandard work. For shame. For shame! Looks like I'm out of stamina, so I have to chillax. It'd be nice if I had a bike. I could get around a lot faster with the old bike. That'd be some power lines heading over to the, whatever the hell direction that is, to be completely honest. I have no damn clue. And, of course, looks like the power, we can still, it's kind of funny that we can see the lines, but we cannot see the power poles. So here we have one of their biggest terrain generation issues with, throughout their alpha, has been how they generate their roads. It has always been really, really weird. I mean, they've tried time and time and time again to correct that and get it to generate the roads properly and smoothly and look really nice. But they never really succeeded at it. It's always doing something weird. But then again, that's game development, you know. Now, outside the alpha containment zone, I could progress further, but I won't find any loot or food. So, yeah, we're kind of contained to this small little town and the surrounding mountains, essentially. We can still explore as far as we can get alive out in the other directions of the map, but for the most part, yeah, we're kind of stuck down here. So this is the lower portion of the map, so I guess we are south. It's supposed to be the smaller valley in this world, with a much more northern, larger valley containing a very, very large city, eventually, that they're... I don't think there's any of it right now, but there will be eventually. Yeah, except we're going to die of thirst soon. That's okay, though. We're exploring. We're explorers. Yay. Into the mountains. Very, very slowly into the mountains. So, yeah. Yeah, for the longest time, throughout the Unity builds and its earliest alphas, I just had such promise for this game, such enthusiasm and support for the devs. Of course, less so when they started rejecting some of the early advice and help, but still. At this point, though, I just don't really have much left into me to really give to the game other than just kind of looking at it from time to time and being disappointed. Really, that's about it. That's about it. I mean, they completely flipped sides too many times, kind of like Forsaken Fortress, another really, really interesting idea for a Kickstarter game. Had such promise, and then they kept changing massive portions of their game over and over again, and they ended up failing because of it. they ended up having going bankrupt and having to pretty much cancel the game. They have since, kind of like almost did Linger in the way, they have since kept going, but they, or at least the main dev, the only one left as far as I'm aware for that game, kept going, but he's making something that was completely different than what we were originally kind of hoping to get. Wow, this is a very awkward road that I'm currently going under. So clearly the under portion of a road does not have a texture. I can't actually jump above this, so I'm not really sure if the top of this thing even has a texture, to be honest. Let's go take a look here and see what's what. So yeah, but they've just changed so many times that I honestly do not see this game ever really getting finished to what we would hope for a good zombie survival game. I honestly just don't know. So yeah, looks like it was just a texture glitch from underneath. Funny. What can you do though, eh? What can you do? But yeah, there's really not much left to show for this version of the game. I don't even know if they had any other guns really in this time around. So we'll just have to keep on watching and see what this game eventually turns into, and I do hope that they just keep going, they don't run out of money, and they can at least give the people who bought this during the Steam Early Access something fun and playable to play with their friends, and so on and so forth. So I do hope they can at least get it to that state. We'll see what happens, though. We'll see what happens in the future. So anyway, I've probably spent more than enough time on this. I'm not really going to spend too much longer. I used to spend quite a bit of time. And again, you can check out my previous videos in the description down below. /playlist, cough. I used to spend a good 40-50 minutes plus just looking around the world, finding new things, locating the prison, which was a new one, and had issues for the longest time as well, in and of itself, with spawning and everything else. But yeah, there's not really... What can you do? Not really too much else to look at right now. I don't even think there's a farm yet that they've added back in. Which I quite enjoyed the farms. They were nice places. Especially the last farms that they made, that they modeled for the Unity build, were really good. They were really nice, high-quality farms. I actually really liked the look of the buildings. So I do hope those buildings all make it back into the game at the very least. So yeah, well, we made it to the mountain here at least. We're still starving to death. Cough. You may encounter visual oddities and bugs. You have been warned. Indeed. I didn't even have to go out of town to find an oddity and a bug. Nothing will ever surpass the might of my crotch gun. Love it. Love it. At the very least, it's still good for a laugh. Okay, so more than likely my health should start deteriorating soon. My liquid nourishment is all gone. At this point, my stamina is absolute shite, so I'm pretty boned. We at least made it to the mountain. Quite a distance we've come from the town. Well, not too far, but then again we're running with limited stamina, so what do you expect, really? But yeah, I think I'm going to go over here and get a nice view of the sunset. Well, actually there is no sunset because they also disabled the day and night cycle in this build. Cough. It's sad and funny and terribly, terribly sad. What can you do? Anywho, I've said that enough. So I'm going to call this... That's a weird purple tree. Huh. Oh, Tree Poppin', you are the most biggest annoying visual glitch that has been in the game since day one. Always annoyed the shit out of me. What can you do? Anyway, that's good enough. So, thank you for watching, everybody. It sucks that I really wish that we could have, you know, gotten better, gotten more than this with all the time that's through the 3 years that we've spent waiting for the game. I wish they hadn't had to go through all those engine changes and pretty much have to start almost from scratch so many damn times. It really sucks. But what can you do? What we have is what we have. no amount of bitching, complaining, whining is going to change that. They're just going to keep going from where they are now and try and iron out this poor tattered mess into something that hopefully will resemble an interesting sandbox zombie survival game. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens, to be honest. As I've said for the longest time, since the earliest alphas, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Maybe 2 years from now, the game will be in a state that I will be actually quite enjoy playing. If it lasts that long, we'll see what happens. So thank you everybody for watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed. Good luck, Dead Linger devs. And I will see you all another time. Maybe, possibly, we'll see. With the Dead Linger. Peace out, everybody.